of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors will take place Monday, April 23rd, 2023 at 9 a.m. at the Community Center, 3500 Edgewater Drive, Sebring, Florida. Please silence or turn off your cell phones. Next, we have public comment. Any comments concerning the consent agenda or anything that is not on the action agenda? Any public comment?
I have 2 cards, one from Ms. Norris.
My name is Jim Norris. I live just east of Cortez in the Magnolia Golf Course, where the new villas that are still being completed. And our builder installed a sidewalk right in front of our villas, and I'm grateful for that. The only problem is, I call that sidewalk a sidewalk that goes nowhere. When you're down there, you can see that from the pictures, the sidewalk, you can go out and walk the length from the east to the west, but the sidewalk drops off into the grass. So if you saw me walk up here, I have what some people stop me on the street and say, oh, that's a nice walking stick. But it's not a walking stick, it's not a golf aid. I have a severe vision loss. And I use sidewalks as a way of navigating the community. And anybody that has a mobility device, they use sidewalks to get around. But for someone like me, when the sidewalk drops off, I use my navigation. And sidewalks connect me to the community. And then I can go on and on. Anyway, I'm here to beg my case to get that sidewalk to connect to the road system. To the east, we need another 9 feet to get to the road, and to the west, we need another 23 feet. If you turn the page, you'll see that there are other examples that I provided. There's in Sunny Lake community that are on Ponce de Leon. I can't remember. You can probably tell there's one down at the circle. And then there's one out at, it's not Sedona, I think it's Sedona. And those are examples where Sunny Lake is actually connected right to the road system. So that's basically why I'm here to ask.
We will definitely look into this. I can't give you an answer right now, but we will look into it and we will get back to you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
And thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Dr. McKinney?
Sebring Kennedy resident, supervisors and staff, and stakeholders. I just want to finalize an announcement I made at the last meeting that we will not be requesting land use here for a school that's coming up. The Hillsdale Foundation invited me to strive plastic utility street. So we'll be doing that somewhere in Sebring, and that announcement I'll bring forth to the fall, if we solidify it, to 2025.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Pat Holmes resident. It's just about wonderful, about minutes and termites. And when you call termites, I'm just wondering if there's anything that someone could do about this tree that's infested with termites. It's not on our property, it's on the property of the lot next to us on the west or the south side, or something like that. Thank you.
David?
Out on private property.
That's all. Sorry, Pat. I think it would be moving to, try to contact that landowner.
Yeah, we might be able to take, I'll take a look at the nuisance statute. That might give us some power, but the best it's gonna do is to be able to tell them we can direct them to remove it or to fix the problem. We can't go onto the land and take care of it.
Do you know who the landowner is?
No, I don't. I always thought there was, I'm sorry, I have a microphone. I always thought that land was not, it was just water and wetland that would never be any houses on it, but I understand now that it's for sale by the owner.
Is that Summer's lot?
I don't believe it's a Sunlight lot.
No.
I believe it's a private owner. I think they had it for a good many years.
Okay, let us look into it, Pat.
Okay, fine, thank you very much.
Any other public comments? Consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All vote?
Supervisor Brooks? Supervisor Brooks?
Yes.
Supervisor Phillips?
Yes.
Supervisor Gilpin?
Yes.
Supervisor Hurley?
Yes.
President Herrick?
Yes. Excuse me. Message from Commissioner Scott Turok. Scott called and told me that he could not make it today, and if there was anything that he, someone wanted to ask him about, if you could tell me what that is, and I will forward that. Okay, action agenda. Meeting schedule change up. Coral, you did quite a bit of work on this. Would you like to start off on it? Or Dan, either one?
She did all the work, let her do the talking.
Okay, so as you see, we put the calendar together for, the end of the month, according to the motion that was made at the last meeting, to hold board business meetings at the end of the month, once a month. So if you look at the colors on your calendar, you have, the best two options would be a Tuesday and a Thursday. Fridays line up with your holiday weekends. And of course, we're trying to get off Mondays. The same for the budget workshops. The motion last meeting was for the second week of the month. I believe it was April through September as needed. I'm sure we're going to find it starting that in May. again, that works out both on a Tuesday or a Thursday, so, it was requested that I look at the beginning of 2024, should they decide to carry this schedule over next year without having to make another change. And it did not seem to conflict with members' golf tournaments, holidays, or office closures. So 24 could still remain the last Thursday of the month if we chose Thursday. And I think the rest is just back up in that packet, showing county meetings, memberships, tournaments, office closures, and the calendar.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Any discussion?
Will now be recorded.
What was that?
Somebody's recording the meeting. They popped in on the go to meeting.
Oh, all right. Any board discussion?
When's Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving is the fourth, it should always be the fourth.
I can't hear you, Cora.
It is the fourth Thursday in November is standard. This year, we have 5 Thursdays in the month of November, so the meeting, if you chose Thursdays, would be the week after Thanksgiving.
Okay. December, I can't, I won't be at the meeting if we do it. That's a bad week for me,
The 28th?
the whole week.
Okay. I'm
Well, that's the week of Christmas.
It's between Christmas and New Year's, yes, sir.
We could modify that to move it up to like the 21st, which would seem to be a reasonable thing to do, since that week of the 25th is always very busy for various reasons. I like the Thursday idea. I think it's towards the end of every month where we should have the financials available to us on a better, more accurate measurement. Thursday doesn't interfere with majority of the things, and in this event, like the 28th, I think reasonable to move it to the 21st. Any other comments from the board?
I don't like Thursdays.
I don't like Tuesday.
I know. So we're at an impasse. Thursday is the only busy day I have in the week.
Tuesday's my busy day. So.
I know. You can get a sub once a month. I can't.
You can't get a sub on yours?
Nope. But
Well, would Tuesday be easier? Well, why don't we take a vote of what day we want then? I mean, you know. I mean,
Any public comment? Well, we're not done with the
right.
board yet, but
I like Tuesday too. So I'm with Bev. So that's my vote.
any public comment? All right. I guess someone make a motion to what day we want it on then.
I'll make the motion to go Tuesday.
I second.
Any further discussion? Call a vote?
Well,
Hold on. If you, Ray, you got more?
no, I don't know what, so what's the Tuesday going to be in November then?
I'd like to say something on the Thursday. I know we're talking Tuesday, but just something to keep in mind that when we do the binders and the books and provide them to the supervisors, when we hand them out, then you'll have them on a Thursday, which will give you a weekend to review them. Plus, it will give you the Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to meet with the general manager to go over your books prior to a Thursday meeting. And should something come up, we have time to review them. If we go with a Monday, a Tuesday, that cuts back the time to meet with the board and,
Explain how.
well, then.
Days are days.
Yes,
You get it on a
I can't
Thursday,
make
you have the weekend.
I can't meet with 5 of you on one day.
If we get them on the Tuesday before, then you have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday to do it, and Monday.
That's fine as long as you're willing to do that, but
It's the
it
same,
doesn't seem to work very well. Let's put it that way. Mondays don't work well because
understand. I thought Mondays didn't work well because of the setup and this
that as
being
well
rented,
as,
rented out.
as well
That was
as.
harder to get the
Yeah,
information out
exactly.
together.
It's one day a month. I mean, that's what
No,
we're
it is
talking
not
about.
going to be one day a month. During the budget period.
During the budget,
But
right?
budget, we're gonna call special meetings.
Right.
Is that not how we left it?
It would be the same day of the
The
week,
same day of the week.
just a different week. If you do the fourth week, you would probably do the second week as the budget meeting. Same day.
Okay, fine.
Either way, I should note, President Herrick, that we are prepared to give the first pass of the budget the second week of April.
Okay.
Or
I have a
we
motion.
will be. We're not today, but we will be.
Okay. There's a motion to have the meetings on Tuesday of every month. Call the vote.
Well, we'd have to change December. Don't say it like that. December's not going to work any day of the week.
Okay.
Well,
With moving it, then you'd have to move that one to the 19th.
correct.
Or just have one,
Couldn't we just have one on December?
like
Just,
we can. We did
But-
in January,
I mean, we did,
December,
I mean,
there
July.
is not a double
okay,
meeting during that month. The budget is already done at the end of September.
right. So we could put it anytime in December. I mean, you know, people start traveling and stuff even in the second week and
You'll
stuff.
never find a perfect date.
Yeah.
That's
There's
right,
not-
exactly.
There's not much point in doing it early in December because you just have one the end of November.
If you have one in November, on the last Tuesday of the month is the 28th, then following right back on, which one would be the 19th if we did it on a Tuesday.
Okay, that's good.
The motion needs to be modified.
So the motion would be that the one in December would be moved to the 19th? Correct.
Yes.
All right, I'll make that motion. To move the December to the 19th.
Is there a second?
You have to accept it.
Pardon?
Is
You
there
need
a
to accept
second
the
to the
second.
motion?
I second it. Whatever,
That's for the, just to add the
to add the
19th.
19th, okay.
Any more discussion? Okay, the motion is that we have our meetings on Tuesday, the last Tuesday of every month, with the exception of December, which would be December 19th. Call the vote.
Supervisor Phillips?
Yes,
Supervisor Gilpin?
Can I pass?
No.
What? When's Memorial Day? I don't care. I really don't care, so, yes, I guess.
Supervisor Hurley?
Yes?
Supervisor Brooks?
Sure, yes.
President Herrick?
No.
What? Did he say no?
yeah.
Okay, the next item on the action agenda is.
Are we also, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but are we also going to keep the budget meetings on Tuesdays as well then? Because we went to the last week of the month for board business, and we still have the budget is the second week of the month, May through September. Does that remain Tuesday?
I would think.
Yes,
You can't
all
switch
meeting-
all.
all meetings on Tuesday.
That would make sense.
I don't know if I can. I'm not, I can't vote on that. I don't know if I have, it's in 2 weeks. I don't know what's on my calendar. You know?
But, oh. And our first budget meeting is when?
Well, if we do what they just, if we move everything to Tuesdays, the next meeting will be April 11th for a budget meeting. But
It's a week
now
from
we've got,
Tuesday.
they're saying we don't know if Tuesdays are available through the budget period. So I guess we could table the budget meetings until the next meeting so that everybody can review their calendars to see if the second Tuesday of every, or yes, it'd be the second Tuesday of every
Right.
month is the better. So,
Dan?
motion to table or not?
Well, a week from tomorrow, a week from this coming Tuesday is a little early. I mean, I don't know what I have going. I used to schedule all my things on Tuesday because there was no meetings. And I didn't play golf. So I don't know. You guys can have the budget meeting without me.
Are you going to be ready to present on by the 11th?
If we have to.
I mean,
Oh, you were saying you were going to be presented on the April 24th.
You can do it then if you want, or we can do it, we can have a first pass by next Tuesday.
First pass on April 24th, and then,
It's a Monday.
It'd be the 25th.
25th, I meant. Wait a minute. This is already.
It'll be the 25th, correct.
How much advertising time do we need in order to change the date?
That's what I was gonna say, is I think we've got enough time. If we change it, we have enough time to change from the 24th to the 25th. So my recommendation would be that the Tuesday meetings start on the 25th, and then the first, there can be a cursory budget, discussion at that point if the board wants, but it seems like.
Well,
the
until
9th
we've got the first pass in front of us, I'm not sure that we need to have a meeting.
Yeah,
Opinion.
the best thing to do would be to get it all settled now so we can do the appropriate advertising.
But we don't have, all the members don't know whether that second Tuesday of the month of May, June, July, and August, and September is good. So until such time as
Well, since I'm the one, if you give me a couple of months, I can change anything around. I mean, that's fine. I don't know about this month,
I agree with April.
but I mean, I can change.
We won't have it,
things.
we won't have anything to look at on the 11th anyway.
Right.
They're saying that they could have something for us they believe by the 25th. Which would give you.
But that's a regular meeting, is it not?
Yes, that's the first regular meeting.
And you're going to do a budget with the regular.
We can do it afterwards.
Huh?
As a first pass, I
Yeah.
think we can.
Okay.
And well, of course, it depends on what the agenda item is too. But they're not going to be ready even on April 11th to this. So,
Because he's talking about doing a first pass, correct me if I'm wrong, on capital and all three accounts. Right? It's an awful lot.
We can
I'm fine, we'll stay here all day if we have to, but I'm just pointing out that there's a lot that we're going to have to go over.
might not include golf at that point in time, but we can certainly
it
do
might not include
utilities.
what?
Golf at that point in time. I don't know. 25th is okay. We can meet with you individually beforehand, give you a first pass look at it so you understand what's going on before you come to the meeting. If you prefer that, whatever y'all want to do.
Well, if we went with the second Tuesday and use May 9th as our initial discussion of what they have pulled together. We could start our budget process on May 9th.
That's fun.
We can put it on the agenda for the 25th and give you a couple of weeks to review it if you want to do it that way and then do the 9th. That works. Sure.
Good.
And how about advertising and all that? That changes. We don't have to do anything like that different, David?
Well, I'd say we're going to change based on the vote that's just been taken. So that's, I guess, if the only thing that's left up in the air is, are we starting the meetings or we'll be having two a month? Are we starting it in April, which would mean that we would have a meeting on the 11th?
No.
Or are we going to start it in May? So if the plan is to start it in May, which I think is the recommendation, then that's all we need to say is that the first meeting when we're doing 2 a month will be on May 9th. That Tuesday.
We're doing 2 minutes.
All right. So can I have a motion that we start our budget meetings on Tuesday, starting in May, with the first one being May 9th and following through to the end of September?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
The end of September, the budget's due before then.
September.
I know, I'm saying that, well, be through September, so the 12th would be the last, hopefully by that time we would wrap up all of the budget.
September, not December.
Huh?
September, not December.
September.
Yeah, September is when when it has to be finalized.
So September would be, that board meeting would be for the public to approve?
No,
We'll have,
September.
yeah, well, I think we have the tentative budget and then the final budget. And that final budget, I think the tentative budget is early September and the final budget is late September. So as long as the final budget is approved by late September, we're in compliance. We just have to have a tentative budget meeting before the final budget meeting. There's 2 required meetings on the budget.
But we could have September 12th as the pre-meeting with approval on the 26th.
Correct.
Any further discussion? Okay, if I read, we'll start, the motion is to start the budget meetings on May 9th and every second Tuesday of the month through September will be used for the purposes of budget. Call the vote.
Supervisor Brooks?
Yes.
Supervisor Hurley?
Yes.
Supervisor Gilpin?
Yes.
Supervisor Phillips?
Yes.
President Herrick?
Yes.
Clerk, could I ask you to write this down and give it to us so we know for sure?
Yes. I'll create
Okay, thank you.
a more simpler calendar.
The quicker the better.
Yeah, I know we have this. Thank you.
And for planning purposes, would you extend that out through 2024 so that we make sure we're lining up and won't have the same arguments come the beginning of the year? Okay. Next action item is the camera system. Dane, I think you're on.
Yep. Good morning, supervisors. I sent out an email last week with an attachment to go to a YouTube page for a system that we're looking at, that we're recommending the district purchase. It's a touring product is the vendor name. And just a reminder, what got us on the camera system is we had some events that happened last year that brought to attention our need for a better camera system. There's also a government requirement.
Dane, hold up some.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I don't believe we have the information in front of us on the camera system.
Did you have were you able to go, do you have this sheet here?
No.
Yeah.
Is it not in the books? I believe it's in the books.
In the front flap.
No, hold on then. I didn't see it.
It wasn't in the book.
Yeah, I don't have it.
It
either.
wasn't in the book. It was in a later
I don't either.
handout.
Okay.
And I don't
Sure.
even know how- Apologize.
Okay, I have seen this before, so,
Has everybody else, do they have it?
no,
No.
you and Mike can
You
look
wanna
at
see it?
that. Thanks.
Has everybody got the right one?
I don't have the back page.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I have it. Did you do a handout on the corrected spreadsheet?
Yes.
Second page?
Yep.
You did this morning? All right, then ignore this back. I promise. Because I don't think I see it.
There, give me, I handed mine down.
I sent out an email as well with there's a portion in there that had that was updated that I removed just to help with confusion. So what we're recommending is a product that's NDAA compliant, which is a government regulation that, in layman's terms, I think there were some camera systems had ties to the Chinese government, and the U.S. government was requiring that these products be NDAA certified, which I believe, from my understanding, keeps certain people from getting in through a back door into our camera system. Our current system does not have that compliance. So those are the two main reasons that we went out looking for a new system. We looked at both Redwire/OpenEye and Phoenix/Turing as options. Both of them are great systems. Both of them have a number of features that I think the district will find useful if another incident happens. But I think this Turing product offers a little bit more in what it can do. It uses AI as a mechanism for finding people of interest. And I was using what happened out here as a guide if something were to happen like that again. There's an ability for the camera system to do searches. If someone says, I don't know what they look like, but I saw they had a red shirt on. You can type in the system red shirt and it'll save security or whoever wants to look at it hours of going through videotape, and will go directly to anybody who's ever worn a red shirt on any of the camera systems. Wow. If there's a vehicle, say a Ford pickup that passed by that someone saw during a time frame, you can type in gray Ford pickup and it'll show every gray Ford pickup that ever passed by our camera systems. You can set time frames. You can set parameters. If somebody were at a certain time that we didn't want them walking up to a certain area and they cross an imaginary boundary with the system, it will turn the camera system on and start recording. You can actually, let's say with the pool, if there were an individual or anywhere else really, not just the pool, that were, let's say, trespassed, there's an ability with the system to take a photo of them, and anytime that person were to come in that area, it will trigger an alarm saying that that person has entered that area. It will send on security's phone, will send a update saying, hey, this person's been marked as not being able to come in this area, if we wanted to use that option. We would continue to use the cameras we have now, plus the purchase of a few more. The cameras range anywhere from, I believe it's $150 for the low end, all the way up to, I think it's $1,000, but the sweet spot's in that $150 to $350 per camera mark. So they're not too expensive. There are some cameras that you can use license plate. It has a license plate reader. And if you're looking for traffic and if somebody catches a portion of a license plate, you can type in 3 letters for that license plate and it'll pull up that vehicle when they pass by and the vehicle they were driving. It's got some pretty impressive features. I think the government or the district would find useful. It's expandable. So if we want to add more cameras as the playground comes on, we can put up a pole out there, add 2, 3, 4 more cameras, whatever we'd like to do. That's also an option at the tennis courts / pickleball courts. We need to add some more cameras over there.
And total cost is just under 25,000
That's correct.
and an $8,000 yearly cost.
Yep, and what that does, and that pays for the software and the features you get. Now, if we get down the line and we say, we don't need this system, we keep the VOR, which is the video recording hard drives and all that, and we can still record, we just lose a lot of the AI capability.
So they maintain them?
Yeah.
They do all the maintenance, we don't have to worry about anything. So if something goes wrong with one, you just call them and they come out?
Yeah, now if it were an older camera, we would have to replace them, but like I
Right.
said, that $150 to $350 mark is the sweet spot for most cameras that they have. And so it's not very expensive to replace. if we need to.
So in the contract that if we sign this, whatever, what's the turnaround time? Say you call them on a Monday, how long how long do they take to get here?
All right, so Phoenix we currently use for a lot of our entry ways. I think we're using them at the dog park and at the tennis courts. My understanding is we've had a good relationship with them. They're very quick on responding. Touring, the software company is 7 days a week, so we'd get a pretty quick turnaround with them. They have a very good reputation.
So would they put that in the contract, turnaround time? They have to be here within 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever.
I could specify something.
Well, I mean, I think we should put that in there because that's, I mean, we could call in and they could take a week to get here.
Yeah, I can put that in
Okay,
the contract.
thank you.
And we had 50,000 in the budget for this?
Yep, I think it was 45,000 was budgeted, so it'd be a cost savings about 20 grand.
Anybody going to teach our security people how to use it?
Yep, so touring will give us, some teaching lessons at first, and I was playing with it. It's very user-friendly, very intuitive. So I think the learning curve would be very short.
Good job.
It's like most apps today on your phone. They're very, pretty user-friendly and intuitive.
So it's your recommendation that we go with the Phoenix Touring?
That's correct. And like I said, I sent out an email to you guys. I hope you had a chance to look. It's very impressive what it can do. It's I would say one of the top video recording softwares on the market right now.
And Dane, how long would it take, if we sign a contract with them, or whatever, how long will it take them to come in and kind of, set everything up?
That I'll have to find out. I think under 45 days.
Okay, good job.
I got one question. On the recording, how long does the recording last? In other words, can I go back 2 weeks and see something? How far back can I go?
Yep, so anytime any individual were to pass by, it starts recording, and it does a 5-minute recording. But we also have hard drives that are recording longer term. So I think it has a 30-day, each camera will have a 30-day capacity. I might be messing up the verbiage, but it can hold recordings for 30 days, and then it comes in with the newest and deletes the oldest. So as long as we know about
let's say there's a
something,
particular incident, like
Yeah.
we had last year at
Yeah.
the pool, and we find it on tape, what are we supposed to do? Record it again to keep it?
Nope, you can save it This is also a cloud-based system, so you can save it into the cloud and onto your hard drive. You can shoot it to, say I wanted to send it to you or David.
So we can we'll have it.
Yeah.
In case we need it.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I can shoot
copy and save.
I can shoot you guys all an email and say, here it is. And right from that program, or Bob, whoever, could shoot it all to you and
Okay.
to the GM.
Yeah, based on the public records review stuff that I did, it looks like that we have to keep it for a minimum of 30 days. So that's what when I talked with Dane about it, that's the goal, is that we have at least 30 days of recording before anything gets overwritten.
Thank you.
Dane, how about the night vision on it? Are these really good cameras for that?
Like I said, it really depends on what the camera's capabilities are. You got low end, you got
Right.
high end. A lot of them use megabytes, megapixels, and I think the average nowadays standard is kind of about 4 megapixels. Most of our cameras meet that. Nighttime, some of ours might lose that capability. It'll still pick it up depending on how much light we have, but if there's an area of concern, we can look into. But
So we may be changing some cameras.
some possibly.
So we
yeah.
should, I don't know, do we budget that? I mean, do we have that in the budget to change certain cameras or?
Yeah, we've only used 25 of the 45. that
Right,
was
yeah, I see
budgeted.
that, yeah, okay.
So when they did the analysis, they said the cameras were pretty good. They don't see an issue so much with the cameras as much as they see with the VOR.
Okay.
So that was the recommendation. If we see something we don't like I said, a
Okay.
future date, we can replace. If we want to go with a higher megapixel, higher night vision, we can.
Yeah, okay, very good.
And like I said, these are up, we can't scale these, so if we see another location in the future, we can definitely run wire out there or wirelessly send it out to be recorded.
Okay. Any other board discussion? Nope. Public discussion, please.
Daniel Garb, 4505 Calatrava. Could you further explain the facial recognition? That brings up a thing in me when people's faces are identified and all of that. So a little further.
Yep, it does have that capability. It's something I believe that can be turned off. So if we don't want to use that, that's an option. I'll have to definitely confirm that, but I think I remember hearing a capability of turning that portion off. And that goes to, privacy and, but there's also benefits to it. I think you can recall what happened out here last year. We might want to, trespass somebody or might want to see if they're a recurring issue. It would give us that capability.
But will it be recording everybody who goes by the camera? I mean, and all of us and everything?
It will, yep.
And so would there be any concern about identifying all of the people here so we know? I mean, that's facial recognition's scary into what it's getting into with our government.
Yeah, there's pros and cons to it, so it's a decision we'll have to make. Is that the route we want to go or not? Like I said, I think there's some big benefits to it. The recordings aren't kept more than 30 days unless specifically saved. So I would, I'm a resident too, so I would have those same concerns. Nobody would be recording the average Joe walking by. It would be specific to an incident that happened that
And
would
nobody
warrant.
outside would have access to it.
Yep, it's NDAA, which prevents backdoor entry. So any government or any other, entity, it would have a very difficult time getting into. And that's the reason for the NDAA, is to keep other, malicious governments or anybody else from getting into and if they wanted to record everybody, it keeps that from happening.
We have a constitution that's supposed to keep them out too, but that doesn't seem to be working.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, can I have a motion that we approve the purchase of the Phoenix touring camera system.
I'll make the motion.
I second.
Call vote?
Supervisor Gilpin?
Yes.
Supervisor Hurley?
Yes.
Supervisor Brooks?
Yes.
Supervisor Phillips?
Yes.
President Herrick?
Yes. Add-on items,
None,
petitions and communications,
none.
staff reports. Goff, Mr. Lemire and Murphy. Murphy?
President Herrick, while they're coming up, I should note that the first pass on this camera system was $52,000, if I remember correctly. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
it was like it was almost twice or more than twice this. Damon and his guys did a great job of getting that price
Yeah,
down.
definitely. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Good morning, Supervisors.
Oh, Jimmy.
It says it's on, so.
It's not.
Sorry, Mike. Testing. It must be user error.
I don't know about that, but we'll go with the coral.
Love you, Jimmy.
I know. Anyway, let's get this up here. Good morning, Supervisors. Real quick update. We're starting this morning behind number 14 green with the riprap. Try to get that done as quick as we can. I know we talked to Drew last week. He was going to try to shoot that down because I felt it was a little bit low. But we're at least going to get it cleared out. And then if we got to reshoot it before we put the riprap down, I'll call him after this meeting and make sure that we're good with that. Just want to try to get that done. And then as soon as probably another week or so, get started on 16, we have the FSGA event with the juniors this week. And then the following week we have, or 2 weeks after that, we have the AJGA premiere or preview. Started punching tees on Turtle Run this morning and try to get those all out of the way before we get going. Got all of our pine straw out yesterday. I know a lot of people ask why we didn't do it at a certain time and everything else. As far as the timing goes, it's just when we put it in the budget. That's kind of the reason why we did it at the time we did. We'll set it up a little bit more. I know somebody was asking about the member gas club championships and stuff like that. We'll try to get it out ahead of all that. Other than that, that's about all we have. We're doing air to gas today on the greens. We're going to get all those done this week as well. So,
Thank you.
I got a couple of questions.
Go ahead.
Can you explain what you think happened and what we're going to do going forward? I mean, we've lost most of our tee boxes. And if I remember correctly, we've overseeded them back in October, November. So my question is, what are we going to do going forward so that this doesn't happen again? Tee boxes are in pretty bad shape.
I don't know which ones you're talking about, Ray. If you could give me a particular one. No, they're not. I wrote them all. I mean, I look at them every day. The overseed's checking out. It's been almost 95 degrees.
This time of year.
Well, if we're going to lose the tee boxes, do we want to spend $30,000 or $40,000 to overseed when we're going to lose it anyway?
I think you got to overseed because of the wear and tear that we get on the golf course. I mean, it's a lot of play on the golf course. The gold tees are definitely, they're rougher than other ones because of the amount of play we get. And some of those we need to enlarge, definitely.
So what do we do going forward to not run into this situation again?
I would still overseed them. I mean, just because of the winter. I mean, like I said, it's a lot of play.
But I think we plan on increasing the size of some of them in order to
Definitely.
So that you can move them around better. Right now, there's not very much room to
They're
move the
small. I
tees
mean,
around.
you look at the back tees on Deer Run and everything. I mean, there's a lot of grass on all of them. That's the whole part I don't understand. I mean, there are some gold tees that are wore out and some of the red tees, but I mean, it's where the majority of our play are at. We're going to do everything we can to get them healthier. That's the whole reason why we're aerifying and we did our fertility on them. But the overseed is checking out on them. Just, you can look on the driving range and it's mostly Bermuda right now. And that's a transition. That's what happens with the overseed. It does check out. Some of the areas don't overseed the tees, so they can keep them going. But
So what you're basically saying is we can expect the same thing next year.
if you overseed, it's definitely going to check out. It's got a transition.
Well, your opinion of the tee boxes and mine are not even close. If you only think it's a couple,
I'd be happy to ride with you, Mr. Brooks, if you'd like to ride, and we can discuss them
I'm
out
not going
there.
to waste my time. Be honest with you, Jimmy.
Okay.
I got another question for you. Why would we be losing some of the greens with everything that we've done since last year? Oh, boy. I mean, you got these octagonal patches that you put into several greens. There's like 3 or 4 greens that are falling apart. Are they not? Or am I misreading that one too?
I mean, the whole thing with 14 green is that we just pulled nematode samples last week. They do have nematodes and they do have plugs on them. I mean, I would be upset if we didn't put plugs on them. I mean, greens get tired just as well. I mean, a lot of it's on the walk-on 14.
What about 9?
9? I mean, 9 is the same spot on the right front. I mean, we've punched them 3 times since I've been here. So every time I punch a green, it's about 6% of the green that gets disturbed. So going forward, we're going to punch them 4 more times this year. They're going to get better and better. I mean, but you got to get the soil out of them and you got to get the soil right on them. We also still have nematodes on our greens, and it's going to be a continued battle to keep treating them, but we're going to continue it. I mean, we look at everything as far as what the situation that we were in last year with Pelania and everything else, and I mean, the golf course is in a pretty good spot right now.
The golf course is much better than it was last year. No question about it. I'm not stating that. What I'm stating is, what are we going to do to prevent these things that keep coming up from coming up again? That's all I'm asking.
Well, I mean, we could take and strip the greens and put sod on it like we did on the back of 9, but I mean, the part that's bad on the front right of 9 right now is not that bad. It's just we're sanding it and doing command, but we didn't go that far with the sod. The whole thing is with the soil, and you got to fix the soil before you can fix the problem of the grass. Once you get your soil breathing and draining the right ways, then it'll be fine. I can take you to 14 green and show you where you've aerified and you got 4-inch root on them. Then you'll get to that one spot that you haven't disturbed yet and it's sealed off.
Well, okay. I guess the dumb question would be, if you know what the problem is, why don't we fix it?
Why do we fix them?
Why don't we fix it?
I have been fixing them. That's the whole thing that we've been doing. I mean.
Okay. Thank you.
Good morning, Supervisors. Just kind of coming out of the prime season here, coming through the end of March, just on the membership front there. Nothing's changed on that since the last meeting. Those numbers will start to go up just a little bit more as we get into our summer membership program, which will kick off here in another month or so. On the golf hop side, you can see we still have quite a few events coming up. We just had that Elks tournament, was just over the weekend. And then we have just a few tournaments on the schedule for April. On the F&B side, obviously we have still quite a few events. Just a couple to note there, our Easter buffet, which is obviously on Sunday. We have over 400 reservations already. So that's pretty much right on par to what it is on a normal year. Obviously the price point has changed on that just due to the time, and it obviously didn't affect the reservations on that too much. 2 things I do want you to note, that Kokomo event, which we've had every year before I was here, is on 4/15. That is a full building event. I just wanted to make sure you're aware of that. The other one was that Best of Highlands event that we talked about a couple months ago. That is on 4/22. So that's actually 2 Saturdays in a row. We do have full course events, but I did bring that to your attention a couple months ago. Just wanted to remind you of that. On the general note, just kind of looked at March numbers as they're coming in. Looks very good. Revenue was, I didn't really go back to look, but I'd have to say the March revenue numbers are probably most likely a record. I can't say that for sure, but to the best of my knowledge, it is. I've been saying it here for a couple meetings that our repair and maintenance is going to be a little bit high in March, but overall, it's still going to be a fantastic month for March. So off to a good start here in April as well. Obviously, we're only a couple days in, but other than that, if you have any questions, that's all I have for you.
Thank you. General Counsel, David.
Okay, not a whole lot this morning. I did just take a look at the nuisance policy. I do believe we'll have the ability to take care of the nuisance termite issue, so I'll get with Bob Hiltz on that. The shade meeting that we had last time, Mr. Rhodes is currently on vacation, but my understanding before he left was that he sent over a letter to Avanti's counsel, and so hopefully we'll be hearing back from them sooner rather than later. I don't know, unfortunately, I don't know if anybody heard, but the assistant county attorney was let go, and so the county attorney's now got a heap more work on her plate until they replace the assistant county attorney. So I have no new information regarding our requested changes. Hopefully, we'll hear something sooner rather than later. Other than that, I don't have anything else unless you got questions.
Can you tell me if you heard, have we heard back from the county on your proposals?
No, that's what I'm saying is, like I say, the assistant county attorney has been let go.
So we're tabled again?
Well, I mean, it's still over. It's still in their hands. We're waiting to hear from it. The last email I got is the one that I forwarded to you guys, where the county attorney said that she is very aware of it and will be working on it, but we don't have any new update yet.
Hey, Finance Director Dane.
Morning again, Supervisors. First thing to discuss is ARPA. Since we last talked, I attended the Highlands County Board of Commissioners meeting. They approved our amendment for the ARPA changes. So our utilities manager is moving ahead with the purchase per the new ARPA agreement. Next issue is the hail damage roof replacement. We've signed a contract with Quality Roofing. The vendors to start around mid-April in the clubhouse. I've spoken with Mike Lemire already. He's aware of it, and we're going to work together to make sure it doesn't interrupt operations of the clubhouse or minimizes it. And the next issue is FEMA. We had our inspection of the Racket Club fence in March. We've already received approval for the funds. And our next big meeting will be April 11th. This is when they come out and we'll be reviewing and inspecting all the roads that were damaged during the hurricane. We'll give you an update after that. And the next topic is meters. The contract with Sustainability Partners has been signed. I sent you an update regarding the project, I think it was Thursday or Friday, specifying where we stand. Just briefly, Sustainability Partners, they're finalizing the paperwork with the installer, Invacor. They are finalizing an agreement with Fortiline, which is the meter provider. There will be a Sustainability Partner / Fortiline kickoff meeting most likely this week. The software and billing system integration will start being built out as soon as the agreement mentioned just recently, once they're finalized. And they're targeting an early May to have site prep and first half of June to start meter installs. Just as a reminder, it could take 3 to 6 months to have the meters installed, and it's mainly dependent on the conditions they encounter as they start doing the installs, whether there be trees, brush, roots, issues like that. Could extend the time frame. I spoke about cameras. The next item is drainage. I think Dan will speak more onto it, but so far we've spent $363,000 on drainage related items with a budget of $625,000. We foresee an additional $445,000 In related hurricane FEMA related expenditures, like I was mentioning about the roads. But if we do incur those costs, they'll be reimbursed, maybe not this year, but next. And if we do get reimbursed this year, we'll stay under budget, $266,000 for the year. Just a reminder, if we don't get reimbursed this year, we do go over, but it's more of a cash flow issue than budgeting. Next item is budget. We've started the budget process. We have some amounts ready for next budget meeting. And I think we'd also, Dan had discussed earlier, having you guys come in individually, getting your thoughts prior to a meeting. That way we can streamline it if possible. Save some time. And that's all I have.
I got a couple questions. On the hurricane damage with FEMA, how many more meetings do you anticipate we're going to need to get this whole thing at first pass?
So so you got the national FEMA and then you have the Florida FEMA.
I shouldn't have asked.
So it goes to the national first, and now we're almost there at getting it to Florida, which Florida actually gives us the funding. So they give us the reimbursement funds. So the government.
I'm not the reimbursement. I want to know, when are they going to finish their inspection so we know what's going on?
Yep. So April 11th is the big one.
Do you think that's the last one or the last?
I don't know if it's the start of the last.
No way.
Sometimes they come, like with the fence, they came out twice. I mean, it was just for a fence at the tennis courts. The roads are going to be a little more in depth. They've got to do measurements, elevations. So I anticipate that taking a little bit longer than just because of the amount we have. And I can't give you an exact right now.
To give you perspective, 2 inspections on a $14,000 fence. The roads is about $450,000. So if they look at twice,
Okay, I'm just
look at
curious
14.
when it's been an ongoing
They're here
process, which is
yeah.
fine.
They're here next week. I would assume they'd come at least one more time because they're supposed to do measurements. You got to look at Columbus Boulevard, which was blown out halfway down. Then you got Menorca and Cortez and 2 more that are swales only. So it depends on, you don't have to like it. You just have to do it. You're dealing with the government, So I would anticipate at least one more inspection after this one, but we don't know.
That's fair. I got one other question for you. Understanding that you'll be leaving here in a few months, and hopefully Mr. Stiegel won't be here longer than 2 years more. Is there a way on the financials that you can show the money that will be owed so that we can get an actual picture of where the hell we are?
Amount of money that will be owed?
Well, we're going to spend X amount of dollars, as you said
on this
here.
FEMA, are you referring to the FEMA related?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to
Yeah.
get money from FEMA, but that money is and we can't really see it on paper to see really where we stand.
Yeah.
Is there a way to fix the financials to show it?
There is, and we can do that. I just want to get it inspected first and get some better estimates than what we have. We have some rough estimates from a vendor we use.
Yeah, well, like everything else, you update them as you get more correct information. But I think to say we're going to spend $700,000 or $800,000 and we're going to get the money eventually without showing it on paper.
Yes, we can do that. I'll do that.
We need it on paper.
All right, we'll do.
Thank you. That's all I have.
General Manager Dan?
A few things for you. We just talked about FEMA. That's an ongoing process. It's not only us, but it's also trees on the golf course, and we've gotten nothing yet other than a lot of work. They're going to reimburse us for people time as well as diesel fuel to run the generators. It's a detailed process. I couldn't tell you how many hours Sunday spent talking to these guys and filling out their paperwork, but we're getting pretty close to the end, I think. of the paperwork, and then you just got to wait on them to give you the money back. But the U.S. government gives it to the state, who then disperses it to us. So no way to know. I think you're seeing pictures now. The dialysis center, basically, we were in the process of putting in a drain behind the dialysis center because it got overrun with stormwater back in September. As we got into that, we determined that there was a high tension line buried behind it. Did not want to dig it up and get somebody potentially hurt. So we have pivoted to become a concrete, I don't want to call it a ditch because it's a flume. Flume's much more expensive than ditches apparently, but we still will be within our budget. It's about $60,000 cost to do that. But that should start this week. It would have already been done had we not run into the pension line. We had Viola in last week. They cleaned and painted, or they've at least cleaned. They are painting our water storage tanks. I don't know if you've seen them, but they were in pretty rough shape, so they should be looking a lot better. In addition, in the water plant, apparently for years we have had the wrong check valves in the water plant. They were not designed for continuous high pressure, which is what you get in our water plant. So we're replacing all of those. Ferguson is basically replacing them for nothing. All we have to do is have it done. So we're getting the proper ones this time. We're cleaning all the drainage easements. We have done so in Unit 16. If you want to take a look before you leave at the map on the back of the table, the orange ones are the ones that have been done with tractor and brush hog, just cleaning them. The yellow ones are the ones that have been done by our skid steer, cleaning all the drainage swales in Unit 11 and Unit 8 that we can get to. Our anticipation was it was going to cost us to have it done by an outside contractor somewhere between $500,000 and $600,000. So far, we've got $10,000 in it, plus our people time. You can see they've done a great job. There's a hearing tomorrow night at 5 o'clock.
That's been canceled.
Pardon?
Been canceled and moved to February, May 16th,
May
I believe.
16th.
Okay, I didn't know about that one.
It just came in early this morning.
Department of Transportation is looking at, well, I'm not sure what they're looking at doing. My guess is they're looking at changing our connection with Ponce de Leon with 27 and making that where you cannot cross and turn left onto 27. That's what they've done at several of those. I don't think anybody would argue that that's a dangerous intersection, but there's only 3 ways in and out of Sunny Lake. And if you got 4,000 houses already and probably have another, pick a number, another 1,000 in the next 5 years, you can't jam that much traffic down Sunny Lake Boulevard. We're going to have to do something one way or the other. I'm not sure, and maybe several ways. Cortez has got to get extended to Schumacher, and we really need a light at Ponce de Leon. We have the latest and greatest draft of the Florida Rural Water Association survey to determine that we need either to replace or repair our Unit 23 wastewater plant. Polston is looking through that now to see how much of it they agree with and disagree. Ultimately, we're going to have to do something one way or the other, and chances are it's got to be a new wastewater plant because we're land challenged at that one. We have 4 percolation ponds there. The only way you could possibly make it work would be to replace a big part of that plant as well as go to reclaimed water, because you don't have enough land to put enough perks to handle the volume that we're looking at coming down the road. So one way or the other, it's gotta get done. I'll be back to you as soon as I get an answer from Poston that they agree or disagree. You approved moving the,
All we know for sure is that the 10 million that we've always talked about is probably not close to where we're going to end up.
it has morphed into more than that. It certainly isn't going to go down. There's a lot of detail work that's got to be done before you actually know what the whole deal is. The water and wastewater billing that you approved last year for 5 years of increases, basically 5% a year, that was predicated on a $10 million deal. This will probably be at least that and maybe more. But if you think 5% increase gets you 10 million amortization, then you can kind of extrapolate. It's doable. Also included in that Florida Rural Water Association, I can say that, I've practiced that. I want to say Federal Rural Water Association of Florida. They're also addressing several other issues that are part of our long-term situation with the older water lines, as well as pretty much all of our infrastructure. We're working on an emergency checklist, I guess you would call it, basically trying to put down in writing when we have a situation, we know there's a hurricane coming or whatever it is, then we have a checklist of what everybody does, who does what, and make sure that we don't miss anything. So a lot of us are working on that. Should have something for you for the next board meeting that this is what we plan on doing. We're also working with Highlands County Emergency Management with that checklist, so that we're trying to get a cooperative agreement with them so that we kind of work together. They were here along with the fire department for our fire out on Granada. As far as I know, we don't know what the cause of it was, but it was significant, and it could have been very significant if the wind had been blowing in a different direction. It was very close to one of those houses out there. I think that's all I have for you.
Dan, did Prominence start yet? You said April 1st.
I don't know the answer to that one.
Okay. And
I know that they have pulled permits. They're getting ready.
Yeah, I just wondered if they started. And,
They have their contractor's license now.
okay. And deer number 15, a couple people told me the golfers were riding over those new things we put
Where?
across the.
On 14.
Yeah, on 15. We put drains in with concrete. A couple people are driving over them with their golf carts instead of going down to the.
Trap.
I don't know if there's a liability there, but maybe you ought to put a pole on each side.
There is the concrete slough at 14 Green.
Oh, okay. I got you.
I think.
No, it's like, it's one by Jim Jonas.
So there must.
Okay, you're talking about the ditch block then.
Yeah, and he had one of his, he's one of them that told me, there was other ones, but one of his neighbors went across that concrete thing. I don't know, I know you're into dangerous stuff, and that seems to me like a golf cart going across those new liability things.
I'll take a look at that. They're not supposed to do that.
Yeah, it's pretty simple that you can look at it, but
Maybe we need a sign.
yeah, that won't work either.
Yeah, right.
Here's your sign.
Yeah, here's your sign.
Put a sign every 10 feet. Pretty good.
Well,
I do have a question. Are we, I guess this may be for Dane more so than Dan, but are we putting any money aside in the roof fund like we discussed?
Yeah, on a monthly basis.
Huh?
Capital improvement, yes, on a monthly basis, there's a transfer done.
What account is it in?
To Europe, there's a transfer done monthly into the Europe.
Can you send me the number of the account?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Follow-up items. I noticed, not maybe yesterday, but Saturday, we had Comcast trucks out there measuring on Pebble Beach Drive,
Excellent.
taking measurements. Have they given you any updates, Cindy?
Not the person I have been dealing with, but there have been representatives from Comcast who have submitted plans to Sunday to expand in that area. So it would be the Myrtle Beach, what are the other streets in there? San Lorenzo. And then on the other side, oh my gosh, San Bruno, in that area.
San Bruno, San Benito, and Pebble Beach.
Yeah.
So there was some activity out there, so it maybe this individual that was asking about broadband, Comcast is in the area, and they're supposedly putting a plan together on the cost that's associated with it.
Well, I think in those areas, they're already submitting the plans, like they're ready to move forward with the work.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
One follow-up item, President Herrick. I had a long conversation with our engineering group last week. I got a bid in to do the demucking for the playground area. It came out at $98,000, which is higher than we expected. I suggested to him that it didn't make a lot of sense to me to dig a hole 90 feet wide by 100 feet long by 9.5 feet deep to put a playground in. He said, well, you don't really have to do all of that. I said, well, then tell me what we have to do. So I may be coming back to you with a better number, I hope. I don't see wasting $100,000 if we don't have to.
Absolutely.
Well, Dan, who said we had to do it?
Pardon?
Who said we had to do it?
Rep Services would like to see us do it.
Well, what's the reason behind that?
Because we put the shade structure in, they want.
There needs to be stable ground to anchor it.
I understand that, but if they're telling us to do it and we're putting all that money into it, why aren't we going to do what they tell us to do? I mean, they obviously, I don't know. I understand.
Where you're talking about is the shade structures.
Yeah.
Correct.
And that's straight, the posts for the shade structures. I can't believe that we need to clear the whole lot of muck. Well, we have a base, a concrete base.
They are concentrated on one side of the playground.
But it doesn't matter. Once you start digging over there, you're going to get water. So.
I know that.
So you might as well put a pool there.
I would say we've learned our lesson, hopefully, from this experience, and we should do it right.
Right.
And be done with it.
I mean.
And if it costs a few thousand more at this point, we're only going to miss the number by 400,000 or 500,000 anyway.
Yeah, do we know exactly how much that $200,000 grant's going to cost us?
Well, it's actually more. It's more like $310,000.
Okay, so it's cost us quite a bit to get that money.
Well,
in essence, we budgeted
we budgeted
$350,000.
$350, we're going to spend $350 or maybe a little over that.
Correct.
For the playground.
So we budgeted 350, but how about the 95,000 that we got to do for demucking?
Part of that was in there.
Oh, that was in there.
Part of it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not that. All right.
It's figures.
I just want to do it right. Let's stop doing things. Let's do it right. Right. So
you
they
have to
tell us.
define right. I mean, do you want to dig a big hole or do you want to dig a hole half as big?
Well,
the engineer says to me, this works, then that's the reason he's an engineer.
Well,
And
I
signs
just
off
want to
on the
make sure it
plan.
works. The only thing I want to do it right, because it's going to be up there for a lot of years, and let's do it right. That's all I care.
Don't disagree.
Okay.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know and you guys can make the decision. If you want us to do it all, we'll do it all.
but we got money budgeted already in there, so let's see
Not
let's see
all
what
of
the
it.
difference is.
No, we don't.
It's about $50,000 more. $50,000 unbudgeted,
Okay.
New business,
none.
discussion to and from the board.
Well, I just want to get a clarification on something, because somebody sent out this email on speed tables. I guess it came from you. And I thought, it still says here that we need signatures from 20 residents, and I thought at the last meeting we said 10.
Did we go through changing that though?
No, sir.
I don't think we actually made the
There was
change.
discussion, but there was no,
That's what was decided at the last meeting, but we have not officially changed the policy manual. So that's correct.
We did change it to 10, but this thing that just came out said 20.
Because that's what the way it reads now. We have not yet amended the policy manual to say 10. That's where we're at. So
What is it, 10 or 20?
the policy manual currently reads 20, but the board has voted at the last meeting, I believe.
no, I don't think they voted. I think that was just discussed.
I think we agreed.
We didn't decide last meeting 10?
Yes.
We discussed it, but we didn't
I
agree.
think, I say, we can check the minutes, but I think we discussed it, but then we talked about, because the plan was when the new general manager comes in to completely review and revamp the policy manual, which is something that I've already started the process of, but we didn't want to implement any changes to the policy manual until the new general manager came in. So, but we can check the minutes and see what
I'm looking.
if it was voted on or if it was just discussed.
Oh, shit. So if it's not 10, what do we,
It is 20 until it's changed.
and do we want to have, and is there any interest in changing it? We already said you can't get 20 legitimate signatures on one block.
Yes. Well, I
Somehow it
know we
morphed
discussed
into,
10. Where it was finished, I think there was a consensus at 10. But now, if we need a vote,
My recollection was, I'm going to say I may be wrong, but my recollection is when we change the policy manual, that's one of the changes that we're going to make, but it hasn't been made yet.
But did we submit to change it or no?
no, there was not a motion and a vote to change it.
No.
There was discussion, but I don't think there was a formal action taken.
I'm looking at it.
So if you want to change it, we can put that on the agenda for next board meeting. And then vote and change, do that, make that one change to the policy manual. But
I mean, I think 20 is a bit much.
yes, I'd like that on the action agenda for next week.
We can't do it now?
no, it's not on the action agenda.
No, there's a lot of that stuff was in your information only packet because it wasn't an action item for the agenda.
That's where he came out with that
Yeah.
radar camera.
That brings me to another question, if I may. The information that we receive, like on these reports, monthly reports, is that to be found anywhere on the website? Are those reports to be found anywhere? Do we have plans to put them anywhere?
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I didn't hear what reports we're looking for.
The ones that you sent to us, like the security reports and all those pieces of paper you send?
I don't get to post it, but it's the agenda.
It does not go on the website?
Yes.
The agenda is not the website. The agenda is part of the website. Are there monthly reports that if I go in and I want to look at monthly reports
No.
on our website, can I find any?
No.
Not as a
No.
separate section, but they're in the agenda packet for each meeting.
But nobody's,
If you want it put on the website, we can do it.
well, I'm just saying, if anybody wants to
see.
see any of the reports that
All they have to do
supposedly
is
we
call
do
the
monthly,
but
they're
they-
not going to know to look at at the agenda.
Anyone that needed to see a report can easily call the office. Is any kind of public records request or just a phone call or an email in asking to see something. All of it's available.
Why do we redo the website?
Do what?
Why did we redo the website if it's not inclusive of the information that it had?
But it is on the website, under the workshop for that particular day, or the
Agenda.
meeting for that particular day.
I guess that will be good if you guys think that's the way we should proceed.
We put it wherever you want it. You tell us what to do.
Well, if I'm a resident in the community and I want to see something, how do I know to go look at an agenda
All
from a
they-
board meeting?
They just need to call the office. They just need to call the district
But
office.
we have a
and ask for
website.
report.
What is the purpose of the website? Okay, I'm done. I do, one more question. Is there anything on golf in here? I didn't see it. I'm just asking. I just saw this today. I may have missed it.
Actually, that's a good point. We were holding off on putting the coupons in so that they weren't getting into the wrong hands. We'll make sure there is a.
I'm sorry, getting into the wrong hand.
Hey, use your microphone, please.
I'm a little confused.
So we had these printed in large quantities. We didn't print the large quantities of the restaurant and golf coupons because we didn't want them getting dispersed before these were ready to go out. So we have them to go in here. There's a coupon for the restaurant and a coupon for the golf.
Okay.
They will be in there.
I mean, we went through this argument to get these guys to do it. They did it, and now we don't put it in the book.
They will be in there.
It's going in the book. We just don't want anybody to get 50 of them.
Right.
Well, you guys, don't you have control over your own paperwork? How are people gonna get it unless you give it to them? I mean,
Whoever gets that will have one,
yeah.
That's it.
but we don't want to put them out in a big pile so people can pick them up like 10 at a time.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other discussion from the board?
Yeah, I want to ask a question real quick. This lady brought this about the sidewalks, and the numbers she gave aren't really big. And I'd like to discuss it because I think we should do it right away. And I think a lot of it can be done in-house.
We are going to look at it.
Well, that's what I'm asking. Can we look at it right away? I mean,
We will look at what it takes in order to satisfy her requirements. I don't know when we're going to do it.
I have it
Until such
I have
time
it
as we
down
get
to
the
look at
review.
it. I have it down to look at it. If she's
Okay.
talking about 9 feet, yeah, we can do that.
yeah, I mean.
But
it's-
she's not
it's-
talking about just that. She's talking about going all the way on up,
Yeah,
I think.
Right, I understand.
So we're
that,
talking
but
$100,000.
I mean, but the part
How
she's
much?
talking, we should be able
Do
to.
9 feet's $4,000 or $5,000. To do all the way up would be 100 or more.
Oh,
So-
yeah. All right,
We'll take care of the short part if that's what she's trying to do.
okay, thank you.
I'd just like to throw out, I promise I'd bring it up, that Matanzas is, I live there too, but I get a lot of people asking me why we lose power. And it's at least 80 times a year that Matanzas loses power.
How many
So
times?
If you just throw it out,
We are actually looking at that.
okay, because it's really bad.
We've had a report that someone was told by Duke Energy that it's because the transformer boxes are sinking into the ground on a lot of properties. So I have gone out and have taken pictures of those, and I'm getting those to Duke to see if they can come out and have a look at that.
And
I don't know for sure that that's the problem, but if it's something we can
I
figure
think
out that way.
During Irma, we were the last ones to get power here, and people from Duke told me personally that the whole Matanzas Street is terrible. It needs rebuilt, but my wife, it's just not my neighbors. We change the clock at least once a week, or not clock, but everything goes out blinking, but sometimes twice a week, and it's only for 20 seconds or something, but it's really something, if we get a chance, we should.
I may be able to help you a little bit. I'm on Matanzas where I live. We don't have any problems. So I think it's more located down on his end. And maybe it's one of his boxes or something, boxes within his area.
No,
There are some of them, they're leaning right into the ground.
I'm just saying where I am,
Yeah.
outside of storms and stuff, we don't have any
And
problems.
it has a lot of people on Matanzas. It's probably the most populated street that we have with everything that's there. So I just wanted to bring it up, and if you have a chance.
Yep.
Okay.
I got one. Can somebody tell me what this is?
That's it. That is also included as an information only. There seems to be some legislation, discussions going on about utility bills and stuff in the background. That there's no discussion at this meeting on that topic. That is just for your information.
And
The legislation, it's pending legislation where they're talking about using utility, but you can only use utility money for utility or et cetera, et cetera. So we just got to have somebody review it for us.
so this is in the State House or something like that, if they're
Yes.
talking about
Yeah.
it?
State.
So this is not anything going to happen real soon, if it happens.
We're monitoring.
It'll happen in a month or two whenever it's
But
set,
still, it would be a new law and it would take time
set to
doing
pass
that.
the next month or.
But then it'd have to pass more and then he would have to
Sign it.
pass it and sign
Okay.
it. All right, we're going to move into a workshop on sunshine law. I would request we take a 5-minute recess. Recorded too as part of the meeting?
Yeah, this
Oh,
isn't
yeah.
a private,
Oh.
this is unlike the shade, yes. This is a
All
regular,
right.
this part of the regular agenda.
Call the meeting back to order. So, sunshine law, and David, I believe you take over.
Yes, sir. All right, well, we're using the same sunshine law
You don't need
workshop
any.
information that I give you guys every time we do this. But start to talk about the role of the Board of Supervisors, and we probably should always go over that. The Board of Supervisors' main purpose is large-scale decision-making. Understanding and complying with sunshine law and code of ethics, governing of the district by setting policies and procedures, delegation of executive authority to general manager. So our general manager has executive authority, approval of annual budget, holding regular meetings, planning for the future growth. Those are all, big picture stuff is what we're looking at. One of the biggest issues that we always have to talk about is our policy B1108. That is about individual supervisors directing employees. Individual supervisors are not supposed to direct district employees. Your main point of contact is the general manager. So you should always avoid directing district employees. You can ask for information, request things, but giving direction is prohibited. And I'll read the actual policy because it bears hearing for district personnel as well. It says, no member of the board shall give direction to any district employee unless specifically authorized by motion of the board at a duly constituted meeting or by consensus of board members. No district employee shall act on direction by a board member unless such is specifically authorized as per the previous sentence. District employees shall report any violation of this policy to the general manager. So the best thing I can tell you is refrain from using directives. You can ask for things. You can say, these are changes I'd like to see made, but the easiest thing to do is just talk to Dan, or talk to the whoever the general manager is, bring up those, bring your concerns to the general manager. The general manager's job is to direct employees. And like I say, all employees should also be aware that they're not supposed to take direction from supervisors. That being said, we can go into the sunshine law. Florida statute 286.011 is the main statute, and there are 3 basic requirements. Number 1, meetings or public boards of the commissions must be open to the public. Reasonable notice of the meetings must be given, and minutes of the meeting must be taken and promptly recorded. So the big question is, what is a meeting? And essentially, it's 2 or more members. If 2 or more members are discussing anything that may foreseeably come before the board for a vote, it is considered a meeting, and the 3 requirements have to be met. So foreseeable basically means anything that could be reasonably anticipated. I'll give the example, if you guys want to have a discussion on how to govern the board during a zombie apocalypse, that's something you can probably discuss just fine because that's not foreseeable. But anything, you just ask yourself, in any discussion that you're having, is it possible that we could have to vote on, the board would have to vote on this at any point in the future? And if the answer to that question is yes, you should not be discussing it except at a public meeting. There are some limited circumstances where the sunshine law can apply to a single board member. We don't, there's nothing that we have done in the past that would fall into that category. But if we were to do something where the board were to assign decision-making authority to a single supervisor, then arguably that's one where it could come into effect. So if let's say Mr. Hurley and his committee meeting with the restaurant committee, if the board had given him any sort of decision-making authority saying you can direct the restaurant to do X, Y, or Z without having to come back to the board, that would be decision-making authority that would be applicable. So, but generally we always bring stuff back to the board. You guys are pretty good about acting as a board and not delegating authority to single board members. Use of an intermediary is prohibited. So you can't tell somebody else, Dan, or any other district employee or anybody else to say, hey, go tell Supervisor B that this is how I'm leaning, or any type of using an intermediary to circumvent the rules. A reasonable notice of a meeting, of course, the Sunshine Law does not define reasonable notice, but that generally applies to this. It's generally, how we, the district staff, is going to have to get meetings noticed and the public aware of them. Did everybody get their Government in the Sunshine manual books? The newest version? Okay. And so if there's references to page numbers on this, that's what it's referring to. So when it says that the page 37, that says it's referring to page 37 of that Government in the Sunshine manual. Open to the public pretty much means everything. All of our meetings are open to the public. The only exception is like the shade meeting we had last month. Public participation, there's pretty much any time that we're having a public meeting, the public has to be allowed to participate. The president's allowed to make sure the meeting runs smoothly. But other than that, people are always going to give, whether it be a workshop, a budget discussion, anytime that the board is meeting, the public is allowed to attend. You don't have to be a resident of Sun Lakes. Anybody that wants to can attend these meetings, the public meetings, and discuss or have the opportunity to speak on any of the topics. Public record, pretty much anything that we create, the district creates, is a public record. I just told you about, I had to look up finding about the camera system. We had to find out what was a reasonable time for us to maintain our video footage, and based on the research I did, it's up to 30 days. So there's what constitutes a public record can be numerous different things, and how long we have to keep them is based on what they contain, not what they specifically are. So like say meetings of the board, minutes of the board have to be retained a lot longer than text messages that you may send to Dan or to any other district staff. I'm hoping everybody has their own individual SNL emails. And that's whenever you're discussing public business or district business, you should be using your Sun Lake email. That way, because that all gets backed up, you don't have to worry about retaining any of those because that's part of the server. But if you ever do use your private email address to send emails regarding district business, that has to be retained as well. And those should be forwarded to Coral. So in the off chance that you have to use your personal email to conduct district business, make sure you copy Coral so that it'll get retained. That's pretty much it. There's not a whole lot to it. If anybody's got any questions, I'm happy to answer your questions. Otherwise, we're good for another year. Any questions?
You guys are audience? Anybody? Nope. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.